It's me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Rob,
Yes.
Are you there, Rob?
Hi.
Rob.
Yeah, don't play that trick on me.
Rob.
That's only Keith that falls for that.
I forgot to check
Keith falls.
how.
I can see my little green dots going up and down.
Oh, right. Okay, so.
Not faking me.
I'm going to turn that off there, and then I'm going to paste this.
I feel like an abused spouse.
And you just keep taking it.
Keith just ditching us whenever he feels like it. I will no longer feel guilty for giving no notice that I won't be in a podcast.
Oh, okay. I think we're on Alpha Geek, but I don't actually know how to check. You start your 1 to 2 minutes before actually. Well, we'll see. I'll check it. I'm going to go grab the beer while you're checking.
I will check, yes. Alpha Geek. Let's see. Alpha Geek Radio. Channel 3, right? Yeah?
Sure.
Channel 3. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to listen to that. How do we... Shows. Networks.
I know. It's really freaking hard to find out where that is.
What are we broadcasting on?
We're supposedly on channel 3.
Yeah, but how do you find that?
I have no idea. I have no idea how to use their website. I cannot find
Video
it.
channels. Channel 3? I don't know. How do you find the channels?
I'm going to look in my history for my browser and see.
Video channel.
Alpha.
I mean, I see. Okay, so there's shows and their schedule, and radio channels. Click to listen.
We're not radio.
All Stars podcast, Coast Comics, Coast to Coast. See, it doesn't show us even on.
Yeah, I know.
Like
that's
on the Legends of Gotham. That's the third one from the left.
I don't know.
Audio 3. Legends of Gotham are on right now.
We're not audio 3 though.
Oh, what are we?
Are
we video? We're audio, right?
I think we're both.
All right.
I don't think we're video on.
Okay, not channel 2.
No. I found it once.
Not channel 1.
And now it's not even showing up in my browser history.
No, it's Will Wheaton on channel 4.
Oh, should I take over his stream?
Yes, that would get us some press.
We could use some press.
Yeah, we're not on any of those channels. But we broadcast in audio, right? Not video.
I believe it's audio.
I think it's video.
All right, well,
because it's a simulcast.
Okay, it's not channel 3 on video. No.
Well, I can try it again.
Wootstock. It's alphageekradio.com, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not on anything.
No.
Oh, let me try the actual link that's in the in the
show notes.
Tune in to alphageekradio.com.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It still doesn't.
So smart.
And tune to channel 3. It still doesn't show. YouTube Live. Hello. No, that did not work.
I can try to start the stream again.
Tune in. alphageekradio.com. That was a bad link. TuneIn.alphageekradio.com. And that takes us to alphageekradio.com. Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
Well, I say we get going.
I think
Network
it might be happening, but we just
Alpha
can't.
Geek Radio, listen now. I'm going to try. Not found. Okay. Well, maybe someone's listening to us. I know our buddy Aaron's listening to us. He's a loyal and faithful listener. So, Alpha Geek Radio, our show hasn't started yet, but as of right now, who knows? If it's kind of like the tree falls in the forest or the Schrodinger's cat. If you don't see yourself podcasting on Alpha Geek Radio, are you really podcasting at all? Are you alive or dead?
I don't know. All right. How to tune in.
Alpha Geek Video on air, a new PNR show. Is that you putting on that? Did you put that in?
In what?
Nope,
Jeremy?
not me.
A new website just. Hold on, let me try. Just came in over the Snatch.
Slack?
Google. That's it. Not Snatch. Something entirely different.
Keith
Live
must be
video,
watching.
live radio.
Oh.
Audio. Oh, Time of No Return on air. Ha ha!
Oh.
That's wicked. Mind.
I started it 3 times. Woohoo!
Hey, it's about a minute behind us. Hey, there they are. We're on.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody out there in Alpha Geek Radio Land. I'm listening to you in the past.
We're so professional. It's a good thing we don't get
right now, I'm
paid for this.
talking about Schrodinger's cat. Neat.
Okay.
The cat.
We drink beer.
Yeah. So let's start the show.
Rob should start the show.
Yeah, okay.
Rob should start the show.
So, okay, let's have it quiet on the set, please. Let's get the grips to, quiet the set down. Get all the onlookers and the paparazzi to the sides, please. Women, mothers, how is your children and your husbands? One and the same? Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Pint of No Return Show, Season 4, Episode 13. Bring your own saison. I'd rather have lager than lie. That's enough. Okay. Hi again, out there in podcast land, audio, video, mental, physical, spiritual, and otherwise. This is the Pint of No Return Show. It's your beer and brothers in arms podcast, where we take a beer each and every week, or in this case, 3 beers, drink them and rate them for your listening and tasting pleasure, and then shoot the shit for the rest of the hour. I am Rob, and with me, as always, is Jeremy and Gary. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
All right.
I'm just as often, not always. Sometimes we're.
Yeah, I'm willing to say that we're kind of always now, because as you may list here on the line, our fourth, Keith, is not here. And Keith let us know exactly 9 minutes and 30-some seconds ago that he wasn't coming to the show. And
did he have a reason, or he just doesn't like us anymore?
The reasons are multifold and probably not important right now. I know that he's been posting on social media that he's posting pictures of him up at his family's cottage. And so I wonder if, and all the hubbub of getting his wife and children and family all up to their cottage, that he neglected to remember that Thursday night was podcast night, even though we've been talking about it all week.
These things
He's
happen.
been up there for at least a couple of days.
They happen to the best of us.
Yeah, well, even in the worst of us. So
in Keith's case,
I will cut Keith some slack, because that is an awesome place that he has up there. We won't divulge its whereabouts so that he's not besieged by onlookers and fans. But he's enjoying they have a lovely family cottage up there that sleeps a gazillion people. So he's enjoying some well-deserved time off.
awesome.
But we'll carry on in his stead. We are going to be each drinking our own saison this evening.
What's
now, if you
the
don't
proper
know,
glass for a saison?
whatever one's empty and clean.
Okay.
So I always like to address the lesser lesser educated beer fans out there, of which I am one. So, Jeremy or Gary, can either of you explain to us what a saison is?
I thought I was told it was a French IPA. Isn't that why we're drinking it?
So
wait, this is an IPA?
It's not an IPA?
Okay.
I don't know if we can do a show. I don't know if we can do a show without an IPA.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough.
So a saison's a pale ale. Not the type of pale ale that you think about when you think of Sierra Pale Ale, but pale because of the malts that are used. Fruity, spicy.
It's traditionally low alcohol.
Lower alcohol.
Rustic.
Well, no, not necessarily lower alcohol, but
that's what it says.
Rustic, very possibly. Well, I guess it depends on what you're comparing it to.
But I think
often it has a little funky kind of flavor.
It looks like the main sticking point that makes a saison is that it uses indigenous ingredients. That is, ingredients that are found in and around the brewery where it is made.
That was probably the case back when they started these in the Belgium, France area.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Belgian yeast strain. It doesn't say that it has local ingredients, and since mine's from North Coast Brewing, I got Le Merle, which is it says saison on the bottle, so I believe them.
Yeah.
North Coast Brewing, they can't grow much up in Fort Bragg except for redwoods and marijuana, so I doubt that they got all their ingredients locally.
Right.
Probably
so not. I tried to go with individuals' definitions, and what I found, like mom and pop shops, is that everyone's definition is a little bit different. So I had to go to the big box definition place, Wikipedia, for saison, which of course in French means season. It's a pale ale, generally around 7% ABV. Which is low for a pale ale, right, guys?
No, that's high.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's highly carbonated, fruity, spicy, and often bottle conditioned.
That sounds about right from what I remember. I'm looking at I have my French English dictionary since we're going over there.
Well, I speak French, so I can tell you.
And it is not listed here.
So the cloudiness, I'm assuming, guys, is because of the bottle conditioning. It's not as...
Yeah. I'm opening this. Mine even has a cork.
Yeah, so
mine's corked as well.
Mine is capped. What are we drinking, though? We gotta introduce them. Gary, what are you drinking?
So Le Merle from North Coast Brewing. I actually had a really hard time finding an IPA. No, I could finding a saison since most of the beers in Whole Foods are IPAs. They only had maybe a half a dozen saison varieties at the most.
Yeah, it's hard for me to find one too.
So this one, I like North Coast Brewing. They're up in Mendocino County. They've been around for a really long time, and they make Old Rasputin Stout, which is really good. And they cork their bottles very well. I cannot get this freaking thing out of here.
All right, Jeremy, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Brett Saison, barrel-aged in red wine barrels from Blackberry Farm Brewing. I think they're in Tennessee. Yes, in Wallen, Tennessee. And all I could find was the Le Merle, same as Gary. But we went to a beer place last night called Beer Craft in Novato. And they have a great bottle selection. And they had several saisons. This one looked really interesting.
All right, cool.
Bottle re-fermented, unfiltered, nice film of yeast at the bottom of the bottle. So I'm looking forward to this.
My cork.
Your cork.
That's good luck. That's good luck. I'm
pissing me off.
I'm going super local. The Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company, which is one of the names of our bayous here in Houston, has a Rotondone Peach Saison. And from the bottle, it says, there's a certain point of year in the year that Houstonians have learned to fear. It's that subtle change in the temperature when suddenly pleasant and nice becomes, damn, it's hot. Rotundoni is an ale made for those days with peaches. Let's see what else it's got in here. Peach punch in the nose, bubbly prickle on the tongue, a peppery spiciness, and a bone-dry finish. Oh, that's coming from, wow, really? A combination of the esters of the yeast strain and 2 types of peppercorns. I've got pepper in my beer, boys.
That's common in saisons, at least from what I remember. I don't drink a lot of them, but they tend to have a more peppery flavor. So I got my corkscrew. Now I can open my beer.
And mine is 9% ABV.
Nice.
So
Holy.
enjoyable.
I was under some serious pressure.
Yeah. That's like my homegrown beer.
9%. That's pretty good. Mine was 7.9. So, what was yours, Jeremy?
Mine's 7.5.
Very peachy. So, if you're new to the show, what we're going to do is we're each going to sample our beers. We'll say a little bit about it, what we taste, what we smell, what we like, what we don't like, and then we'll come back to it at different points during the show, and then give it a rating on a 1 to 10 scale at the end. So, let's not dilly-dally anymore. Let's drink up. Prost.
All right.
Gross. I got quite the head on mine.
Nice.
Here's mud in your eye, Keith.
It smells like what I remember a saison smelling like. I haven't got to any beer yet, though.
Wow. Mine is really, really pleasant. It is very dry, as the bottle states. It's not overly sweet at all. There's just a hint of it there, and a little bit. You definitely taste the peach, and you definitely taste a little bit of pepperiness, which I was a little concerned about at first. We've had beers in the past that have had some pepper in it that I really didn't care for, but this blends really nicely. And that pale ale flavor from the yeast and the hops definitely comes through as well, but it's really nicely blended, and it finishes very, very well. So I'm quite enjoying this.
Yeah, that sort of, mine doesn't have an overly peppery flavor. It's just sort of like a different kind of bite to it. Like it's kind of got this edge that pale ales don't normally have. And an alcohol bump, which is always a good thing. But I mean, it looks like a pale ale. The bubbles are fizzier. They're kind of more towards champagne bubbles, but otherwise,
yeah, it is very mine is very carbonated, like the definition states.
And this is, I don't really taste the barrel in it, but the kind of funky, definitely Belgian style yeast. It's got that a little bit fruity, maybe slightly. I guess it's esters that give you that flavor, but really, really a nice drinking beer. Very dry, very, very fine bubbles in it, and like Gary said, almost like champagne.
Mm-hmm. It does have a champagne-y kind of taste to it, which I don't really care for, but in this case, it works well.
I think it's that. To me, it's that the combination of the fine bubbles and the dryness are really reminiscent of champagne.
Yeah.
Delicious stuff.
And mine has a Belgian yeast, so assuming that champagne uses local yeast in France, that kind of would explain a little bit why.
Yeah.
This is actually from their American Artisan series. I didn't notice that.
Okay.
So, it's actually a quite refreshing beer. Most pale ales don't have a lot of complexity to them. Like if you think of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, it's good, but it's kind of like, fairly one-dimensional. You get a little bit of hops, you get a little bit of bitterness in there, but not. There's not a lot of flavor profile in that. This has a lot more going on than a normal pale ale. Mm-hmm. So if you like pale ales and that's kind of a style you gravitate toward, saison might be a nice change to get you into something a little bit more complex.
Yeah, I think for the fact that they are they're only periodic in nature. They're not a beer that's made all the time. It is, as kind of defined by its name, as seasonal, and it's kind of made with what they have around or what they want to work with. or what they want to experiment. It's typically more of an experimental beer. So well, I think these would be perfect for things like beer tasting or beer tasting parties, because it's going to be something that probably no one's tried before, because it's brand new either that season or that year. So it's something nice that everybody can try and experience for the first time.
Yeah, that's a good point. This beer that I'm having might be like a year-round production, like, or maybe like not constant, but is it all calendar year? I'd have to check. But since saisons are seasonal, would they be like a fall or late summer beer, kind of after harvest kind of thing?
They begin
as designed.
They begin as a pale ale brewed in the cooler, less active months in farmhouses. They were served to farm workers who were entitled up to 5 liters each day.
5 liters.
Be a farm worker.
So after brewing, the beer was then stored until the summer, when the main consumers would be the beer was stored until the summer, when the main consumers would be seasonal workers, saisonniers.
So really made for a drink as a summer beer.
Yes.
So brewed in the fall or early winter, stored until next summer.
They don't have to share. Here's interesting. What we've kind of found out by accident, that saisons do not share enough identifiable characteristics to pin them down as a specific style, but rather we're a group of refreshing summer ales made by farmers. Each farm brewer would make his own distinctive version. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, most of the packaging or labeling on saisons that I've seen will say farmhouse ale or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So
interesting. So. Okay, so we'll keep on sipping on that during the show, and we'll come back to it as we can, and definitely give it a rating at the end. We've got some. Yeah.
How big was your bottle?
My bottle's a big one. It was looks like a 1.6. It's a pint.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry, a pint 6. Excuse me.
Oh, we all have the same one.
Yeah.
Well, mine's a pint 9. Wow, that's like 2 beers.
Mine's 12.
So we do have some feedback for this week, Pie No Return show, and you can always send us feedback on our website, pnrshow.com, or you can email us, pnrshow@gmail.com, Twitter us, Slack chat us. We have lots of ways you can get in touch with us. And I'm assuming this comes from our main fan, Mr. Aaron.
Yeah. Our feedback is sponsored by Aaron.
That's right. He who shall never be on the show is our most vocal participant. I've invited him to be on the show many times. He's like, I do not want to hear my voice on this podcast ever. So, but yet we do hear from him every week. And these are two comments are from 2 episodes ago. And he says, first, seriously, y'all, reading my previous comments almost made me spit take sunflower seeds, shells, and all at my computer monitor. And all I have to say to that is, you're welcome. Now, yeah, his wife just got a brand new computer, so make sure you're not listening around her computer, Aaron. Okay, and secondly, in our discussion of Lagunitas, and Jeremy's now disdain, I won't say disdain, departure, abandonment of Lagunitas, I say, because they are now owned by Heineken. He says, Lagunitas makes one of my favorite beers, censored, a.k.a. the Chronic. I'm kind of meh on the vast majority of their stuff, but as long as they keep making it good, I'll keep drinking it. I think that if Gary and Jeremy are not enjoying the Lagunitas experience, that is more than enough reason to stop drinking their beer. But to be such a hardline, fair-weather consumer who bail as soon as Big Beer signs the check to purchase the company just smacks of excessive snobbery. Oh, Jeremy. Lagunitas still employs your neighbors and generates money for your neighborhood. I can't stand Walmart, but the local Walmart still employs a lot of local people. If I liked anything they sold, I would gladly go there. Jeremy, your reaction. He's coming after you.
Yeah, but I see his point, but it's my money to spend on what I choose, and I prefer to support smaller businesses. They no longer need my money.
Oh.
And if I can't find any other good beer to drink, and Lagunitas makes the best beer I can find, then I would have to buy it. But that's just not the case.
I don't think that's what you said before, though. I think
No,
you said you would not be coming back to Lagunitas now that they were owned by Heineken.
No, I won't. But and they don't need my money, and they're successful. They did great. They succeeded well. But I choose to spend my money on smaller businesses.
They didn't need your money before.
Probably.
Well, before they were a small locally owned business.
Yeah.
Well, now they're not.
But now they're not.
They're living the American dream.
Good for them.
Start small, become larger, and make more money, and eventually be taken over by a multinational conglomerate.
Good for them. I helped them succeed, and now I'm going to help someone else.
Okay, there you go. You know what? That of all the I won't say excuses. Of all the reasons you've given for not drinking it anymore, that makes the most sense. You're now moving on to your next project, making the next brewery star.
So who wants to be the next billion-dollar brewery? Get in touch with me. Let's talk.
You can tweet Jeremy at Jeremy Brooks. Let him know.
Jeremy will secure. Well, what's the one? Speakeasy, right? They're trying to make a go of it again. So we can
hey, listen,
I haven't heard what has happened to them.
Hey,
lately.
Listen, small breweries out there, we would be more than happy to sample your beers on our podcast. We would gladly, if you want to send us something to try, we would gladly devote an entire episode to your beer.
We might even devote multiple episodes to your beer if you sent us beer.
Listen, the Beer Salt people sent us samples. They came on the show. We featured them for an entire show and are still talking about them like 3 years later.
Yeah,
look, I'm even growing a mustache for them.
Yeah, it's a beer salty mustache.
See, there you go.
So listen,
there's your next promo.
There you go. So don't thumb your nose at the PNR show advertising juggernaut.
Yeah, we might generate somebody looking at your website one time.
We might generate dozens of cents worth of website hits. So that's not nothing.
Yeah, all right. We should move on to topics. I don't have fancy music to transition like Keith does. Sorry.
That's from the old show. Okay. This week in the news, I will always bring really cool, interesting space topics to the show.
Space is awesome.
Space is just the coolest place ever. And this week, NASA announced that in the summer of 2018, it's going to launch a probe. Now, this isn't going to be an ordinary probe. This probe is going to be launched into the sun's atmosphere. It's not going to have a crew.
Is atmosphere the right word? I mean, it seems like the sun would burn off in the atmosphere.
Yes, no, it's going to reach the sun's outermost atmosphere called the corona, which is the Latin word for crown and the American word for beer. Ba-dum-bum. That's in the article I'm plagiarizing this from. It's officially called the Parker Solar Probe, and it's going to get to the corona of the sun's atmosphere, where it is roughly 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, in order to gain new insights into the solar wind and space weather. Space weather, of course, has a lot of impact on Earth, from electromagnetic waves that can bombard us to solar storms that can knock out our electric grids and things like that. They're going to be 7 times closer than any mission has ever been to the sun. It's going to zip around the sun at 430 miles per hour. But the big reveal is that it wasn't necessarily the plan to reach the sun, but rather the probe's name change. It was originally called the Solar Probe Plus, but now they're honoring astrophysicist Eugene Parker, who was the first one to hypothesize that a solar wind even existed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think they're going to find when they reach the sun?
Hot stuff.
Yeah, it'll be very hot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. Maybe they you think they'll find different types of particles that we don't necessarily see approaching Earth?
Well, one of the most interesting mysteries about the sun, which they have yet to be able to explain, I was reading about this earlier this week, is why the surface of the sun, and this is what they've determined from readings and from calculations, why the surface of the sun is hotter than its interior. It defies kind of the normal physics model of how a planetary body is constructed. Like our own Earth, is the coolest part is on the outside, and then as you go further down, it becomes hotter and hotter. But for the sun, it is apparently the opposite. And so they hope, even though they can't get to the surface of the sun itself, that their closeness will help provide some of the explanation as to why this happens.
You know, I don't know enough about the sun's, I guess. I mean, I know in general, you know, heat, light, solar wind, radiation, all that stuff. But one of the huge challenges about space travel is the radiation, right? Because we're protected by the magnetic field. So if they can learn a little bit more about how we can get astronauts actually out into deep space and protect them by sending something close to the sun, that would be a cool outcome of this. I don't know if that's on their agenda, but for me, it's like, you know, figuring out how our astronauts will not be killed once they leave low Earth orbit. That's a good thing. Yeah,
that's true. Of course, my main fear is that the sun is actually a gigantic, really, really hot soap bubble that if you actually did touch it, it would pop.
That could happen.
So maybe not so much the actual landing on the sun. Leave well enough alone.
Yeah. I hope they can like figure a way out to live stream. I know that's a lot of data to send back, and you know they don't have like high-speed internet out at the sun, but if they could live stream that, or at least send a stream back that they can replay of that probe like crashing into the sun, that would be awesome.
That's a pretty awesome looking mission patch too. If that's what it's going to look like in the Gizmodo article, that Parker Solar Probe.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
If that's what the mission patch ends up looking like.
I didn't see the patch. Oh.
It's down near the bottom. They tweeted it, and they actually have a Twitter account at NASA Sun, all one word. If you want to follow them.
There we go. Oh,
NASA
cool.
likes crashing stuff. They like crashing stuff because Cassini's going to crash pretty soon too, right? Is that like later this year? It's going to crash into Saturn.
Yes, on purpose. On purpose.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, I mean, we're getting to the point where, you know, we'll now hopefully they'll be able to come up with the Star Trek version of subspace and be able to
slingshot around the sun.
Well, not that, but be able to transmit stuff faster than speed of light, which will be all kinds of cool in terms of travel. But the least of which is like being able to watch something like the Mars moon landing actually live and not 20 minutes later. That'd be pretty cool. So interesting. We also are going to have NASA telling us a total solar eclipse on August 21st. That's going to go across the United States.
Yep.
And you're going to get, and those of you in the Northern California area are going to get the full Monty. You're like,
we're not going to get it as good as Oregon. Oregon's kind of the place to be for that.
Well, it's actually it's kind of like going straight over Portland. It looks like, or Salem.
Yeah, we'll be in my brother's backyard watching it in Salem.
Yeah, if you are if you are in looks like Salem, Boise,
Bend, probably
Omaha, Kansas City, St. Louis, Nashville, Atlanta, and Charleston, the actual darkest parts of the eclipse are going to go right over your head, which is pretty cool.
So apparently in Oregon and other places that are along the path of the darkness of this, like because that's like prime camping time up there. All those campgrounds and places like that are already all booked out.
Oh wow, cool. Oh, because there's so little other ambient light out there.
Yeah. So they're if you're like out in like the away from Portland, because Portland has a lot of ambient light, but I'm thinking like the Cascade Mountains or Eastern Oregon or you know, somewhere like that. When that eclipse happens, it will get really dark.
Yeah.
So
but you know what this really means, don't you? This means that you're going to have to get ready for the next 2.5 months of news articles telling you not to look directly into the eclipse. You got to get the little pinhole, and people are going to go blind.
Or you could go to the PNR website and click the Amazon link and buy yourself a welding helmet.
The darkest part of the eclipse too is going to come pretty close to Washington D.C.
No, absolutely not.
Just saying.
Yeah, right across this country.
There's no political significance. There's an argument. Hey, Gary, you might want to mute your microphone.
Yeah, I got to mute you. Sorry.
There's a fight going on at Gary's house. Yay!
I don't want.
No, you're still Gary.
After graduation. She can wait 2 days.
So Gary.
I don't want her pictures with her nose ring.
Can I mute him?
She's still a child.
No, she's not.
Can I mute him?
She is.
No, I think we should talk about nose rings next.
I muted him.
No, we should talk about nose rings next.
So
next topic, nose rings. And
So
when
let's
is
talk about
it
nose
too
rings
young
and
to get a
when
nose
those-
ring?
You guys heard
and I'm
that?
gonna yeah, you didn't mute it.
Oh no, I muted and then someone unmuted me and then.
No, we did
you
not.
didn't mute it.
No, you didn't mute it. We heard the whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like the best
So,
podcast
I mean-
ever.
Yeah. So our next topic was we were going to
Nose
discuss
rings.
a brand new Tolkien book, but let's talk about nose rings and when it's appropriate to take pictures with them.
So I have a daughter who is 18 and she's a senior in high school and is graduating from high school on Saturday. Today's Thursday, and she wants a nose ring, which that's fine. She wants to do that. She's fine. I'm not a huge fan of the nose ring. And I have said that I don't want her to get her nose pierced until after graduation. Because I want her, I want to have all the photos and everything we take, having her without a nose ring.
You want her to be the little girl that you raised.
What? Yeah, if you want to interpret that, that's your interpretation. I just want her to wait until she's graduated to do that. And then if she wants to go on Saturday afternoon and get her nose pierced, fine.
Like you're saying the next day.
No, the graduation's on Saturday. So
so that's the same day. After everything's done, go and do it. Kind of like a congratulatory, celebratory event, so to speak.
Yep, that's fine.
That's fair. Wait, here's more.
This is like family stuff.
I know. All right, I am really going to mute now. So.
I can actually
talk about that.
I will mute you if you don't mute. Okay, there you go. She's muted. Okay, so
And this is Gary's last show.
Gilly is not look at. We're just watching his face. You can see the torrent, torture on his face. Look at him. He's got his little earring there going too. Look at that. He's got his little earring there. He's saying about his daughter's nose ring. Okay, so Gary, we got actually unmute. So Gary, I have two questions. First, you were muted then, but we did see the anguish on your face.
Yay for technology.
Two questions. First of all, we gotta know what's in the Amazon box behind you. And then second of all,
okay, you can open the Amazon box. Okay.
Second of all, how difficult is it to have the conversation with your daughter about her nose ring when you have an earring?
I pierced my ear when I went off to college in the fall after my senior year of high school. So my logic holds because...
Was it after you graduated?
Yeah, I graduated from high school. I went off to college and I pierced my ear.
Now, when Gary graduated, and we all graduated, those were the days where guys had to actually pay attention what ear they pierced.
Oh yeah, I was careful.
There were different connotations for how you twist your ear. Yeah. So let's see. We have a treasure trove.
I got an anchor cable.
Ooh.
So iPhone cable. Oh, I hope I ordered the right one. Damn it. I thought I ordered a lightning cable. This says micro USB, so I'll have to check.
That's wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure I ordered the micro one, and then I ordered. I've been trying to do push-ups to try to get myself in a little bit better shape, and my wrist has been really sore from that, because if you don't do that right, you can get hurt. You can hurt your wrist because of the pressure. So I ordered like these little push-up bars to put on the floor to protect my wrist.
So what you're saying is your wrist is sore from push-up.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's my left wrist, and I'm right-handed, so.
Sure. Okay. Okay, so we do have another topic this evening, a real quick hit. News broke not today, but in the last what's today? That of an old story that's finally being published. And J.R.R. Tolkien, you're one of my favorite authors, author of Lord of the Rings and all that kind of good stuff. He wrote a book, or at least part of a book, 100 years ago, about Beren and Luthien, which, if you've watched the Lord of the Rings movies, they are referenced. They're it's a human falling in love with an elf, with an immortal elf. And their attempt to steal something from the evil Melkor, which, if you know Lord of the Rings history, Melkor was a predecessor, or it's the same person, if you will, but it's a predecessor of Sauron, of the evil guy in Lord of the Rings. So Aragorn, in his relationship in Lord of the Rings with what's her face, with all I can think of is Liv Tyler. With the Liv Tyler elfin character, he references that story, and the tragedy of the story is why he can't get together with her. The story, edited by his son Christopher Tolkien, was told in part in the Silmarillion, and it's now been finished and fleshed out, and it's going to be released as its own book. So
today, it was released today,
and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I threw this in there mainly because when I go to England in
I texted my daughter.
a few weeks, I am going to Oxford, and I'm going to visit Tolkien's grave, and it has those names on the gravestone.
Yeah, actually, the relationship he had with his wife served as an inspiration.
I get those pierced.
Oh, time to mute again. Podcast. All right, so
this is the most drama we've ever had on this show.
Yeah. So the book itself is going to feature illustrations by Alan Lee, and this is kind of really a story for all the Tolkien fans out there. Alan Lee, you may know, is probably the foremost artist of Lord of the Rings art, and was featured all over Peter Jackson's film trilogy. So his artwork, newly created artwork, will be featured in that book. So that's pretty
looking
cool.
forward to reading that.
Yeah. So if you've ever read the Silmarillion, or let's face it, if you've ever read parts of the Silmarillion, because it is kind of a hard book to get through in some places, you know that there are some really good stories in there, but they're kind of couched in way more verbose and technical descriptions than even in Lord of the Rings. So to have it get its own story and maybe a little more fleshing out and maybe a little more clarity is a good thing.
Yeah, I actually probably not going to read the book before the trip, but I just thought it was really cool that they have the book based. It's kind of based on his relationship with his wife, and I'll send pictures of that kind of stuff. So
his relationship with his wife, and also the loss of two of his close friends, I guess, during the war, or the World War I.
That would make sense too, yeah, because he was doing that. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I thought, if you're a Tolkien fan, it's kind of a cool thing that they're still producing it. And I kind of was thinking, like, is the son kind of milking the legacy and making money? But maybe. But as a fan, it's cool to have new stuff.
It's 288 pages, so there's there's enough in there for a good story.
Yeah, he put some work into it. So
Yeah. My wife has really gotten into. Now, my wife is a bookaholic, but because of her job and the fact that she travels a lot, she had been taken to reading or listening to audiobooks for the last 4 or 5 years, and just recently has started getting now back into reading actual print books. Doing it on a Kindle, of course, but still actually reading books. She was surprised to find how awesome it was to kind of divorce yourself from the trials and tribulations of your real life, and she discovered that actual reading, when you're committing to finding that reading an actual book, that it helped her to really relax out. So I'm actually might pick this up and read. I have a ton of books that have backed up in my queue. So
my other daughter, who's not getting her nose pierced, is graduating from college. I'm going to tell her sisters to buy her this book as her graduation present before she goes to study at Oxford this summer.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap up our show with our pick segments, which we haven't done in a few weeks, in a few episodes. So our half pint segments, gentlemen, what is your pick for the week? Jeremy. What?
Just continue on. Just continue roll.
My pick for the week is the New York Times crossword app. It gives you a free daily puzzle, not the one from the newspaper, but a small mini puzzle, and you can buy other packs and subscribe if you're really into it. But it's a fun way to spend a few minutes every day. And even the small puzzles, some of them are really tricky. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. I suck at crosswords.
I love puzzles. Love puzzles.
I love puzzles. Crosswords are hard. My vocabulary ends at, can I have another beer and IPA?
It's funny because there's a definite art to doing or technique to doing crossword puzzle, and it's not so much knowing the word or the trivia that they give you, but how the puzzle is constructed. Believe it or not.
Yeah. It gets easier. The clues make more sense after you complete a few puzzles.
Right. Okay, Jeremy, what's your pick?
My pick's the New York Times crossword puzzle.
Gary, what's your pick for the week?
Oh,
other than saying skip the picks, I say no.
I didn't put much thought into this, so since the Warriors are playing game 1 of the final, right now I have it on pause on my YouTube.
No wonder he wants to go.
Well, there's that. I gotta pick the Golden State Warriors. They're gonna show the Cavaliers.
How many games?
It's gonna go to 7, but the Warriors will prevail.
This is Super Fight 3. It's tied 1-1. So.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So my pick of the week is I love the geekandsundry.com folks. Tabletop is one of my favorite board game podcasts with Will Wheaton, and they do a lot of other great shows on there. Critical Role, which is a live RPG podcast, and a whole host of others, funny and informative, all of them. But they have a new one recently that is in line with the new escape room craze that everyone's excited about, and it's actually just called Escape. And they take 3 or 4 really well-known folks from the geek world, some of them well-known to folks outside of the geek world, and they put them in a different genre of escape room, and they get 30 minutes to try to get out. I mean, it's obviously condensed and shrunk for time, but I watched a Cold War one today, and it was really, really good with Jessica Chobot, who you know from The Nerdist, a couple of the actors from the TV show Psych, which is a great show that I love, and it's coming back. I'm so excited. Psych is coming back this fall. And one of the main actors from 30 Rock, which is another favorite show of mine. So give Escape a try. It's on geekandsundry.com, or you can find their YouTube channel, and they have all of them set up there for you to watch. So Escape it's really, really cool. All right. Final thoughts on the beer. We need to give our beers a rating. Jeremy.
I am really enjoying this beer. It has a lot of flavor, and it's getting more and more complex as it warms up, and it's getting better. I'm going to give it an 8 out of a 10. This is really nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. Gary?
I am going to concur that this is a good beer, and it's getting really good, and it's better than a nose ring. And I will also give it an 8. And hopefully that you guys can remember this, because I do not have the spreadsheet open to keep track of this.
Well, it's going to be pretty easy to remember because it's going to be a clean sweep. The Buffalo Bayou Brewing Rotondone Peach Saison is really, really good. It drinks very, very nicely, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot. I especially like the fact that it's not very sweet at all. It's more on the dry side. It's got a really nice finish and a really overall great taste, and I will also give it an 8. So 3 cheers for the Saisons this evening. They were well represented.
That was good stuff.
And
yeah,
that was good stuff. Yeah. And I ordered the wrong cable. I ordered the wrong freaking cable.
Yep. And so we've got things we learned this evening. Gary can't place orders with Amazon.
No.
His daughter is rebelling. And what else? What's the third thing that we learned?
That Saisons are a good beer.
Well, yes, but I think so that, and then the fourth thing is Keith can't be counted on for anything. let's leave with that. By the way, folks, Keith's pick was Hearthstone.
Yep.
Actually, let me correct that. Keith has been going. I'll take full credit for this. Keith has been going on and on about Golf Clash, playing it nonstop. And we both got involved in the tournament this week on Golf Clash. So I'm sure he would recommend that to you. He even said in the chat room that he's putting down Hearthstone and hasn't touched it in a long time. He's playing Golf Clash so much. So, geez, just wrap already. All right, Gary. So from all of us here at the Pioneer No Return Show, we say drink more beer and especially try some Saisons. Maybe we'll be back next week. Maybe not. Who knows? Thank you guys at Alpha Geek, and thanks all of you for listening. See you later. Bye-bye.
Oh, I got to hit the stop button.